Did you know that 92% of people say they're more likely to remember a story than a list of facts? Or that leaders who use storytelling can increase employee engagement by up to 30%? That's right, stories have a massive impact on how we connect, influence, and lead. But here's the catch. Most leaders aren't using this secret weapon to its full potential. While we all know stories are memorable, few realize just how powerful they are when it comes to leadership. The right story, told at the right time, can spark change, build trust, and even inspire entire movements. In this video, we'll dive deep into the science and strategy behind leadership storytelling. You'll learn how to use stories to connect with your team, motivate them, and create lasting influence. Whether you're a seasoned leader or just starting out, these insights will help you craft stories that make a real impact. Ready to unlock the power of storytelling? Let's get started. Chapter 1. The power of the unspoken. Communicating through stories. When it comes to leadership, what you say is important, but what you don't say can be just as powerful. Communication is more than just words, it's how you present them, your tone, body language, and even your silence. Research shows that a staggering 93% of communication is nonverbal, with only 7% being verbal. That means the way you tell a story can have a profound impact, even if you're not saying much at all. Leaders who master nonverbal communication can build trust, show confidence, and create an emotional connection. Think about great leaders like Nelson Mandela or Barack Obama. Their presence alone spoke volumes before they even opened their mouths. They knew how to use their body language, facial expressions, and pauses to make their stories resonate. But storytelling isn't just about talking, it's about connecting. A leader's posture can convey authority, warmth, or openness. When telling a story, standing tall or using purposeful gestures can make you seem more credible. In contrast, crossed arms or avoiding eye contact can make you seem defensive or disengaged. Incorporating storytelling into leadership doesn't just make you more memorable, it makes you more relatable. People connect with stories on a deeper level because stories engage emotions. Our brains are wired to remember stories far more effectively than plain facts or statistics. According to researchers, we are 22 times more likely to remember a fact when it's part of a story. So, when you want to inspire action, framing your leadership message as a narrative can make all the difference. The magic of storytelling lies in the emotional impact it leaves behind. When leaders share stories that evoke emotion, whether it's a success, failure, or challenge, people feel it. This emotional connection can inspire loyalty, spark creativity, and drive motivation. Think of how Steve Jobs used stories to drive Apple's innovation. His story about dropping out of college, staying hungry, staying foolish, connected to millions and became a rallying cry for his company. Mastering the unspoken aspects of storytelling can elevate your leadership communication to a new level. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it, and how you make others feel in the process. Chapter 2. Crafting your leadership story. The art of authenticity. One of the most important strategies for leaders is crafting an authentic story that aligns with your true values. People don't follow a leader just because they're skilled, they follow because they believe in them. And authenticity is at the core of that belief. According to a Harvard Business Review study, 58% of employees report that they trust leaders who show vulnerability and authenticity in their leadership style. To craft your leadership story, begin by thinking about your journey, where you started, the challenges you faced, and what you've learned along the way. Authentic leadership doesn't come from a perfect narrative. It comes from embracing the imperfections and being open about struggles. When sharing your story, focus on the why instead of just the what. For example, instead of just talking about how you overcame a challenge, explain why it mattered to you. Simon Sinek's famous concept of "start with why" emphasizes the power of connecting your actions to a higher purpose. Leaders who communicate their why inspire others to join the mission. Another strategy to create an authentic leadership story is to avoid exaggerating or embellishing your experiences. People can sense when a story doesn't feel true. In fact, research shows that 63% of people trust a leader who is candid and transparent about their mistakes. By sharing lessons learned from failure or even doubts you faced, you build trust with your team. Leaders who are truly authentic make others feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves. Your personal experiences can serve as a beacon of inspiration and motivation. This is why leaders like Oprah Winfrey have such an undeniable influence. They've shared their struggles and triumphs in a way that resonates deeply with others. Authentic stories allow you to relate, connect, and inspire. Building your leadership story should also involve reflecting on the values that drive you. What principles guide your decisions? When your story aligns with your values, it not only shows your authenticity, but it also helps others understand your leadership style. It's about being consistent in your words, actions, and decisions, creating a cohesive narrative that people can trust and follow. At the heart of every powerful leader is an authentic story. When you share yours, remember that people connect with the human side of you, not just your achievements. This is the story that will inspire others to follow your lead. Chapter 3. Stories as Catalysts. Sparking change with narrative. One of the most powerful ways to inspire change is through storytelling. Great leaders understand that a story has the ability to shift minds and inspire action. Think about it. Every major movement in history, from Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech to Greta Thunberg's climate activism, has been fueled by a compelling narrative. When you tell a story, you don't just relay information, you provoke thought, change perspectives, and encourage action. Storytelling is a catalyst because it taps into emotions. A well-timed story can shift the mood of a meeting, get people excited about an idea, or make them rethink their assumptions. It engages the listener's emotions and paints a vivid picture that logic alone can't achieve. The key to using stories as catalysts for change is to understand the need for a story in the first place. Ask yourself, what do you want to change? What message do you want to convey? Great leaders use stories to rally their teams, especially during times of uncertainty or transformation. In his book The Storytelling Animal, Jonathan Gottschall explains that humans are storytelling animals, and we are biologically wired to make sense of the world through narrative. This means that storytelling isn't just a nice-to-have skill, it's an essential tool for leaders who want to create lasting change. One example of a leader using stories to spark change is Howard Schultz of Starbucks. When Schultz took over Starbucks, he didn't just talk about profits and growth. He shared a story about the company's origins, about how it started as a small coffee shop in Seattle. This story inspired employees to think of themselves as part of something bigger and sparked a company-wide commitment to customer service and community impact. To harness the power of stories for change, focus on the elements of conflict and resolution. People relate to struggles, obstacles, and the hero's journey. When you tell a story that centers around a challenge, it builds anticipation and engagement. But don't forget to highlight the resolution, because people need to see how that challenge was overcome. This gives them hope and motivation to overcome their own obstacles. A powerful leadership story doesn't just change people's minds, it changes their behaviors. When you tell a story that taps into your team's values and aspirations, you create a sense of purpose. Purpose-driven teams are far more engaged and productive. A Gallup study found that employees who feel their work is aligned with a higher purpose are 50% more likely to be engaged in their work. The next time you want to spark change, think about how you can tell a story that taps into the emotions and values of your team. When done right, stories can serve as a powerful catalyst for transformation, both in individuals and organizations. If you're enjoying these insights, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more leadership tips and storytelling strategies that will help you lead with impact. Chapter 4. Emotional Alchemy. Turning vulnerability into leadership gold. Vulnerability in leadership may seem counterintuitive, but when done right, it's an incredibly powerful tool. In fact, research shows that 62% of employees believe that a leader who is vulnerable can build stronger connections with their team. Leaders who open up about their struggles, failures, and imperfections appear more relatable and trustworthy. When you tell a story that includes vulnerability, you're showing others that they don't need to be perfect to succeed. Think about how Brené Brown, a research professor at the University of Houston, has become a leading voice on the power of vulnerability. Her studies have shown that vulnerability fosters creativity, trust, and innovation in teams. In her book Dare to Lead, Brown writes, "Vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome. As a leader, your story of vulnerability doesn't just create empathy, it encourages growth. When you share how you've learned from mistakes, you give others permission to fail and grow as well. This is especially important in fast-moving environments where innovation is key. Leaders who encourage experimentation and view failure as part of the journey foster a culture of continuous learning. Consider the example of Howard Schultz, former CEO of Starbucks, who openly discussed his struggles growing up in a poor neighborhood. His vulnerability resonated with employees and customers alike, helping to shape the Starbucks brand as one that values community and connection over just profits. His story of overcoming adversity helped establish a culture of openness and inclusivity within the company. However, vulnerability alone isn't enough. It's crucial to balance it with strength and clarity. When you share your vulnerabilities, make sure to also convey how you overcame them. This shows that leadership isn't about being flawless, it's about being resilient and learning from experiences. When combined with resilience, vulnerability can indeed become leadership gold. Leaders who embrace vulnerability aren't weak, they're courageous. They lead by example, and their authenticity creates an environment where employees feel safe to express themselves, share ideas, and take risks. It's this psychological safety that allows teams to thrive and reach their potential. Chapter 5. The Ripple Effect. How stories spread. Leadership influence. Stories have a ripple effect. They don't just impact the person you're telling them to, but also the wider audience around them. When a leader tells a compelling story, it spreads far beyond the initial conversation. This spreading influence creates a sense of unity and purpose among a broader group, amplifying the leader's impact. Research conducted by the Wharton School of Business found that storytelling in leadership is not just about telling one person. It's about telling a story that resonates on multiple levels, causing others to retell it and spread it further. Leaders who craft stories that evoke passion and inspire action see their influence grow exponentially. Think about Apple's narrative around innovation, which is retold by customers, employees, and fans alike. One strategy to create a ripple effect is to encourage your team to share their own stories. Leaders who foster storytelling as a communal activity create a culture of shared purpose and inspiration. By empowering others to share their personal stories, you give them the opportunity to feel ownership of the company's mission and values. This strengthens both trust and collaboration. The ripple effect isn't just confined to personal stories. Organizational narratives, those that define a company's mission, values, and goals, can be a powerful tool for shaping a company's culture. For example, Google's story of how it began as a small search engine in a garage has been retold countless times, creating a sense of community and shared vision among employees worldwide. Leaders can also leverage storytelling to reinforce their company's values and direction. According to a McKinsey report, employees who understand their company's values and purpose are 2.5 times more likely to be engaged in their work. A well-told story about your company's founding or its values can inspire a sense of ownership and pride in employees, increasing their commitment to the organization's success. The best leaders don't just tell stories, they encourage others to become part of the narrative. When people feel connected to the story, they're more likely to share it, creating a cycle of influence that grows over time. This creates a deep, lasting impact, as your story continues to inspire and motivate long after the initial conversation. Chapter 6. Storytelling for Legacy. Building an influence that lasts. Every leader is building a legacy, whether intentionally or not. Storytelling is a key element in ensuring that legacy endures long after the leader has moved on. Great leaders understand that the stories they tell today will shape how they are remembered tomorrow. To build a lasting influence, your stories should focus on more than just personal success. They should communicate a larger purpose. Leaders who center their narratives around a vision that transcends their own tenure, whether it's advancing a social cause, building a strong organizational culture, or improving the lives of their employees, create a sense of legacy that outlasts them. One key strategy to building a lasting legacy through storytelling is to highlight moments where others played a crucial role. When you tell stories that shine a light on the contributions of your team members, you reinforce the idea that leadership is about collaboration, not individual glory. This encourages a culture of shared success, where everyone is invested in the vision, not just in the leader's personal journey. Take the example of Nelson Mandela. His story wasn't just about him, it was about the collective struggle for justice in South Africa. Mandela's leadership was built on a vision of equality and freedom for all, and the stories he shared emphasized the importance of community, not individual achievement. This approach helped solidify his legacy as a leader who valued collective effort over personal ambition. Another strategy for creating a lasting legacy through storytelling is to reflect on the lessons you've learned throughout your leadership journey. By sharing the wisdom gained from years of experience, you position yourself as a mentor and guide for future generations of leaders. A story about a tough decision or a moment of growth can be a powerful teaching tool. As leaders, it's important to think about how your story will be told long after you're gone. Will it be remembered as a story of vision, resilience, and service? Or will it be about your personal achievements and accolades? The best leaders ensure their story is one that inspires future generations to continue their work. Your leadership legacy is not just about the success you achieve in your lifetime, but how the stories you tell shape the future. Storytelling is the bridge that connects today's leaders with tomorrow's. When you craft your leadership narrative with an eye toward the future, you ensure that your influence lives on. Thanks for following along. If you've enjoyed learning how storytelling can transform your leadership, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more tips that will help you lead with greater influence and impact.